and earns support from Oxfam, Nigeria. It is dedicated to educating communities in Rivers, Cross River, Delta, Imo, and Akwa Ibom on the critical aspect of the Host Community Development Trust and Freedom of Information Act. And over the week, we've been having different discourse cutting across monitoring host community development trust and also maximizing economic benefit of the Petroleum Industry Act. So this week, we're back with another round of conversation still on the HTDT fund this time around. And I'm glad to announce to you today that being joined in the studio by two very gentlemen of repute. First, we have the State Support Officer of Connected Development, Charles Ufort, who is a regular person on the program. Good afternoon to you, Charles, and welcome to this week edition of the program.
Good afternoon, Ade. Good afternoon, Port Harcourt.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
And we have the community developer and gender and human rights advocate, Emilika Josiah.
Ebilika Jisa, that's a good one.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here to discuss this.
I must say it's looking like a nativity Thursday. The part.
That's true.
Awesome.
Nativity Thursday.
And today we'll be looking at the role of the media and opinion leaders in amplifying community voices. It may interest you to know that in everything concerning bringing or amplifying the voices of people, there has to be a medium
Mhm.
to carry the
Yeah,
message.
true.
And when the medium is limited, it is also another form of disadvantage. But you have to explore different means to make sure that the said message is dispensed across board. That's why we'll be having this conversation today on the role of media and opinion leaders in amplifying community voices. Now, very quickly, let me start with you, Charles Ufort. What's the primary basis of having an inclusivity of the media in helping the people amplify their voice?
Okay, good afternoon once again, Port Harcourt. Good afternoon, Rivers State. This is the Power versus Partnership. Today's topic is very delicate, and that's why we are on the media already. So without me coming to the media, you won't hear my voice. You won't hear about the Petroleum Industry Act. You won't hear about the Host Community Development Trust. So that's why the media sector plays a very vital role in bringing out this information, playing it out for the public to hear, be it traditional media, be it public media, be it social media, be it all kind of media. Because without us talking, without taking to the larger audience, the people in the community, the target audience won't be able to benefit or understand what is going on. So that's why we have to take this topic today to definitely talk about it. So that the people, wherever you are, the urban, the rural, wherever you see yourself, you can be able to hear us and also know the vital roles the media have to play when it comes to Petroleum Industry Act, and when we keep advocating of the benefits attached to it.
Interesting. Now, let's go back to the books. Colleague to colleague, Emilika Josiah.
Yeah,
It's interesting to have you on the program this afternoon.
thank you.
Now, looking at the Host Community Development Trust Fund and the media, what is your own position on this particular issue, generally speaking, before we narrow down?
Yeah, generally speaking, truth be said, even if it's called host community trust fund, it involves everyone because wherever you are, whatever you are doing in life, you are part of a community. And if you're in a community where you are being affected by the oil spill, by the by climate change or by whatever issues that is happening, okay, you can't hide in your profession and then feel you are not part of the community. You are still part of the community. So whatever that you need to do to ensure the community get what belongs to them, even if it's as if it doesn't belong to them, which is not true, then you need to do that. Put your voice to ensure that the community gets what they deserve. Okay, because let's look at the scenario. If you are in the urban area where things are okay and your community is bad, and then you want to retire to back to your community, the question is, where will you go to? The same place you don't want to put your voice, you don't want to work. Then who is in quote, who is the person that will now do the work for you?
Mm.
So you know what they say when there's this parable that they said that when the monkey stays on the floor and begin to laugh or make jest against a tree that is falling, he's forgetting that that is his home someday.
Yeah.
When the time he wants to sleep, he will look for that same tree. So let's not just put our hands up there and say, no, we work here, we do things at the urban, we do things there, and not go back to our community and fight for what the community deserves to get. So that's why whether media, whether any form of profession, whatever we are doing, we need to make our voices heard. We need to ensure that the community get what belongs to them.
Fascinating. Now, to you listening, your community may cost across some of the states that we've mentioned, and that particularly concerns you. If you've been tracking the conversation over the last couple of weeks, you would understand that Oil Rich community are actually the basic fulcrum while we are having this particular conversation. So, what you need to understand is that you would also have the opportunity to call into the program and be a part of it. Let us know how you've also been able to extend and extenuate your voice to further allow what you wanted to air as grievances or relating to concerns in your community become spread. I'll give you the phone line so you can get to participate in due course. The first is 0908 or 09022 and we have 0704 Josiah, very quickly, the mass media
Yeah.
is becoming diversified by the day.
Yep,
So,
true.
how do we streamline between the mainstream and the alternative media that are developing, and their approach tends to differ?
True.
But how does it slant into amplifying community voices? And that said, what are the implications of these differences?
Yeah, so the differences makes it unique. You asked the first question to Mr. Charles and you talked about inclusivity, okay? Everybody has to be inclusive.
Mm.
Now, let me take inclusivity in this way. Let me use the body, okay? Let me use the body. Now, if you look at the body, you will discover that the body has different parts, but they are all working to ensure the body system is functioning.
Mm.
Okay, so if the hand is off, you know that something is not right. So that's the way it works. Now, whether you call it the mainstream or what it is called the new stream media, they all have their peculiarities. They all have their audience. For instance, if you want to get the more younger persons, like the teenagers right now, to talk about this, you need to go to where they belong, the TikTok.
Mm.
Okay, if you want to get the what people get the mad kind of guys, right? That just want to hit it. You go to the X handle, and then if you want to get a mature kind of persons to have that conversation,
That's
you
the
go
blue
to
app.
you go to the blue app. So, and if you want to now have the extreme mature minds, you go to LinkedIn. Now, these areas have their different message settings. Now, if you want to get to them, take the same message, get it to their message settings, drop the message in their conversation, and you will discover that you will still sell same message but in different way. That does not mean that the mainstream media are not doing the work. Sometimes the mainstream media even gets more to some policy makers.
Mm.
Okay, so you also use the mainstream media. Yeah, you shouldn't. I need to say that because it is called media or mass media or new media doesn't mean it is better than the mainstream media or the mainstream media is better than. In fact, media is all inclusive, including the town crier in the village. Okay, it's part of the media. It's called the traditional media.
Mm.
Right. So you bring them in and you talk about the same message. You get them to the community. You get them to all these aspects just to ensure they get the message and they lay their voices.
I like the fact that you've been able to outline and help create a pathway in the labyrinth of what the different media is, the
Yeah.
news stream,
Yeah.
and the
And the
mainstream.
mainstream, yeah.
That said, Charles,
Yeah.
have you in any way working with code considered the possibilities of actually exploring these different mediums, the different niches, and trying to harness them into propagating the message of the host community trust fund.
Yeah. Once again, I really want to thank Oxfam Nigeria and Connected Development for bringing this program, because without them, like I said, we, the community member, wouldn't have heard our voice this afternoon. This is one of the key roles that we are playing. To mainstream it down to Petroleum Industry Act, how does it connect? It connects in a long way, because what are we talking about? You don't like the sharing formula, right? You go to the media and talk about it. You don't like how the procedures are taking place. Where did you go to? You cannot just stand in the village square and shout and they will hear you. Where do you go to? You go to the media and shout it. That is where the regulatory bodies, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Mainstream Commission, NUPRC, the Petroleum Industry Act Committee, the House of Assembly, the House of Representatives, that's where they will hear your voice.
Remember, somebody called in last week and the person wanted to take his name off the books.
Yeah.
In fact, at some point it was difficult to grill out the community name.
He
He
made it a quote. He want to remain anonymous.
You know, so those are one of the things that could actually impede seeking redress.
Yes.
No, it doesn't impeach redress. See, the thing is, when you begin to make certain points, when you begin to call out certain things and you begin to hit them, okay, some of them are actually pinned by what is happening. So they will actually lay their voice, but in an anonymous way.
Yeah,
because the reason is that they know when they say it, they will target the right audience that you may not have known. And that will also enhance the voice of whatever message you are delivering.
Yeah, to add to what Josiah just said, because I remember last week when a guy called for a particular local government in Rivers, and he said want to remain anonymous. Yes, this is one of the key things we are talking about, because when I mentioned I've been coming out, we are talking about is that Petroleum Industry Act is broad. It's not something that we just be able to sit our home and comprehend it down.
Yeah, true.
So what are we talking about? And there are some formulas that are going on in the community which is not on a fair play. Some persons are not like the guy that called. The persons are not okay with what is going on. And I kept emphasizing, I kept advocating, I kept saying, please, it is not one man's business. It's not a family affairs. So that is why we come up as a leader of any committee that you've been inaugurated, as a member of the Petroleum Industry Act and Host Community Development Trust in your community. You have a vital role. If a sharing formula is not clear, or they have a particular project they want to execute, and they divert it to another thing, you as a member and as a committee member, you have the right to go to the media, because the media houses are quite so open. These are what they are advocating, and these are what they are asking you to come over and do. There is space for it. And the media also are playing a very vital role, because they are hearing our voices. And all these government people that are hearing our voice, even the community leader you think you want to remain anonymous because you don't want him or her to know your name, they have been hearing of all of this. So, as a community person, you have the right. Me, as a civil society person, that's why I'm coming to radio to tell you, if you didn't know your right, you should get to know your right of what to do it rightly.
Interesting. Charles Sufort, you've spoken at length today. I'm beginning to think you want to contend the space with me. That will happen another day.
Yeah.
That said, let's understand, Josiah, back to you. Community leaders are also part of opinion molders, and when it comes to public discourses, you cannot take away these opinion leaders. So it's important to understand how can their influence be both beneficial and detrimental to marginalized communities, because look at the analogy just read out. Some individuals, by way of their intervention, they become a problem, and for some others, it's some sort of relief.
Opinion leaders, community leaders, or whatever name they are called, okay, they are very vital when it comes to issues like this, especially when it comes to what the community wants. All right. And if they don't understand, well, let me put it this way, they have an influence that is, how do I put it, like, is baptized on them. When they say a word, people follow them. People listen to them.
Definitely.
So they are vital in issues like this. Now, one of the challenge that CSOs and some other people face with opinion leaders is that you don't make them understand your message. Once they understand your message, go and sleep, they will carry your message for you.
When you say understand message or getting a grasp of the message. How exactly should that have been
So
done?
now we are talking about for
Host
the host community
Development Trust.
development fund. Now we're talking about what it entails, what is involved, how they are involved, what the community gets to gains from it,
Yeah.
and what the community should not allow to happen.
Mm.
Okay, if they understand this, they understand the concept, they understand what it entails, you will find out that they will sell the message very well. But when they don't understand the message, when they just think it's all about let's grab, and not just about understanding the typography involved in it and everything that has to be included, okay, then you will have an issue. But thank God for my friend here, Charles, that have made it, will I say, a duty. With the sponsorship from Oxfam and then Connected Development to ensure they understand the actual and the reality of this development fund. All right, so that they can get the message. Now, opinion leaders have one thing about them: their words. When they speak, they have the ability to carry a lot of persons. And when you give them the message, drop it in their hand, they know how to interpret the message to the people that follow them. And once they are able to do that, you're getting your message, you're getting whatever you want.
Interesting. Let's let you know that you can also be a part of the program this afternoon by calling to ask those critical questions and even make your contributions. We are looking at the role of the media and opinion leaders in amplifying community voices, of course, as long as we still have the HCDT in view. And do not forget that all of this is aimed at amplifying voices for transparent governance in Nigeria's oil-rich region. This program is, of course, organized by Connected Development Code with support from Oxfam Nigeria and is dedicated to educating communities in Rivers, Cross River, Delta, Imo, and Akwa Ibom on the critical aspect of the host community development trust and as well as the Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah.
Still with me in the studio this afternoon is the State Support Officer of Code, Charles Goforth. Many thanks for still being here. And we still have Eminika Josiah. He is the community developer and gender and human rights advocate. Gentlemen, thank you for still being here.
Thank you so much.
Still talking down this line. What ethical responsibilities do you think? If you would allow me, I would have gone ahead to expand on it, but
You can.
I would excuse myself on this note so that you don't get to put it directly to me. So, what ethical responsibility? Because sometimes when we operate from within, we don't get to see our flaws,
True,
but the
true,
outsiders
true,
better evaluate.
True.
So, in that light, ethically speaking, what responsibilities do you think media platforms and opinion leaders have in representing diverse community perspectives fairly and accurately?
So maybe I'll allow Charles to speak first.
Charles will speak legally.
Okay,
You speak
so let me
legally.
speak ethically.
Okay.
Now, first, we need to understand that no matter the message we have, we must have respect for everyone. We must have respect, and we must be honest. Okay, we have the issue of propaganda that has been going on all over these days.
But it's quite allowed in any system.
Allowed,
Yes.
yeah, and that's the problem.
It's a
you see.
mechanism.
Now, so you it's a mechanism, but the thing is it the right thing to do? So when you recently there's this the Confucianist theory has been on, okay, where people begin to say what is not true as if it is true. Now that also brings two vital stuff: misinformation and disinformation.
Yeah.
So when we begin to look at messages from this angle, then we are even destroying what the community should even get. Let me give you one of the danger about not being ethical, not being honest, and having misinformation and disinformation. The community will believe you, especially opinion leaders, especially when they believe what you say. They will believe what you have said. They will run with what you have said. And at the end of the day, they will carry out action from what they think or what they have understood by what you said. Understand? I said what they have understood by what you said, not what you have understood. Now, along the line, when you now find out the truth or you already know the truth and now you decide to go back to the truth, the community has already caused main harm before you will want to retrieve and start telling them. And when you start telling them the truth now, they will think you are lying. So from the onset, they will stay in the lie, destroy the community. Why? Just because you want to play the propagandist, if there's any word like that.
That's
System.
yeah, it's given. It's given according to the Gen Zs. But on a critical note, it's a two-way traffic. Before we come to the aspect of the media, which I believe you're here to address,
Yeah.
still speaking of opinion leaders, at some very dicey juncture, it is required for them to play the smart card between organizations or IOCs and the communities.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where the propaganda comes in.
Yeah.
In some instances, it may require the delivery of half truth so as to save their head.
Now, see,
So when it gets to such tight ropes, how do you expect these leaders to work between balancing
the community
opinion
and the
that of the
organization. Now,
organizations?
the work of the opinion leaders, you see, this is where we need to understand you. Opinion leaders should know that most times they play the public relation role, even if they are not professional public relation experts. Now, and this is where they need to actually advise the organizations, the companies, the IOCs. If you want to carry out a particular thing in the community, don't stay in your office, decide what you want to do, and then you think the people will just jump onto it. So you will give me what you want to do, and you want me to stick out my neck, tell them how you want to do it. It doesn't matter if it's going to be detrimental to them, if you're okay with them. No, you tell the people, I hold the key to the people, and I know how the people can relate. Okay, if you listen to me, because I can relate with the people, listen to me and I'll tell you the best way that we can actually get to the people. That's what they are supposed to do. But unfortunately, we are in a situation where the opinion leaders now, in quote, want to allegedly, as we call it, we say it in the media, allegedly wants to now grab. They want to get it by themselves. So they don't care about what the community will do. Let them just get what they want to get. And well, if the community gets it, fine. If it does not get it, it's not their concern.
But to be accurate, for you, at times, even truthfully tendered communication might still go wrong.
No, so it is true.
But because you made mention of it, crisis communication then comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And at some time, whether these people are professionally inclined or not, the natural instinct tends to jump in.
Yeah, true.
So how do they act in this regard to make sure that things doesn't go south between them and the people?
Now, the opinion leaders have one thing that they do. Beyond the fact that they have voices, they have influence, they have network of voices. They know who they can talk to among, for instance, if it is the youth,
Absolutely.
They know who they can talk to that can calm the situation, who they can talk to that can actually keep the situation pending. They also know who they can talk to that can escalate crisis. Okay, so what they do, which I know they do, is once they have the crisis situation, they target those persons that can actually talk to the group involved to calm their situation. But my only challenge about some opinion leaders is that they are not truthful to both the community and the IOCs. And that's where the challenge is. And when we talk about opinion leaders, they are not just youths, including the community leadership system. Okay, they are part of opinion leaders. And we've had a lot of community citizens come to us, say that our leadership are not truthful, the IOCs just get to them, pay them off, and that is it. Now, sometimes that might not be the case, but because in the past years, it has been the scenario.
Perception,
yes. It has been the scenario, and that's what's going on. So, If we want to be ethical, we have to be moral. And morality says that we should be truthful. We should let the people know how it is, what they need to get. See, if I'm coming with a project to a community and the project is to give you pipe bomb water structure, I should tell you it's pipe bomb water structure. I should not tell you I'm giving you pipe bomb water structure. I'm giving
I
you.
think I need to come in.
Yes, please.
I
No,
knew
let me
that
comment.
Charles
Let me
was
comment.
filing his litigation papers.
Once again, I really want to thank the community members
Okay.
because I always this program is mainly for community members, and I would have want to make it. We always make it very simple. Maybe you're hearing us speaking grammars, it will like a little bit confusing. So in clear terms, if I have my way of saying, let me break it down to broken are you. I do, but we make it to the barest minimum that community members can understand.
You want to go? To
I I really want to thank community members because this program is meant for you, and you have a very vital roles to play. I would have stayed at the comfort of my house and keep quiet and start using my phone to play around because what is on my mind? I'm not one of the oil raising community members, which I'm not benefiting anything. Why should I come over on air to talk about it? Please, there's an avenue, there's a platform. You've been using social medias to play around with. You've been using all sorts of medias. If you go to the Western world, what do they do to centralize their information? You see them protesting when things are not favorable in them. They protest, they come over, they talk about it. When and it goes viral. Let me tell you, community members, please listen to me. Let me say this to you. You see, any leader in your community, you wouldn't want his or her name to be scandalized in their way of doing things. And they will want to hide it from media because, like Josiah have said, anybody that will occupy the position, he or she wouldn't want their name to be tarnished. So the IOCs, who are the IOCs? The oil companies.
The oil companies
in your community.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want their name to be tarnished in a way that they are not doing the right thing. And by the time you confront them, by now we say, please make use of the Freedom of Information Act, FOI. Write letters to them. They understand. There's no company that comes to, I won't mention names, but there's no oil company that comes to your community to operate that does not know the ethics of business in their community, in those communities. So if they're not doing the right thing, if they're not following the right procedure, you can petition them. I've been saying time without number, you can write FOI. FOI, Freedom of Information Act, was enacted since 2011. Write it under 7 days, they can honor it. You don't need to come to radio here. Write it to them. If you write it to them twice, they refuse to do it. Come over to the radio and talk about it and mention their names. They will listen to it and they will run to it. They wouldn't want their name to be scandalized. They won't want their image to be tarnished. So, the role you have to play as an individual, as a citizen, also with the media. What does the media do? They give you the ample time, their platform for this to go wider so that people in other places can hear about it. As I'm talking to radio now, I cannot come on to you alone and talk to you. You are hearing, thousands of people are hearing our voices as we speak. Right? So, as a legal person, as my colleague Josiah comes in to speak, because he's speaking on the angles that what you need to give you in full details of what you need to understand. Now, that is why I want to really thank our Connected Development and Oxfam, because Oxfam have been doing wonderfully well in so many diversity sectors. They talk about tax justice. They talk about the Petroleum Industry Act. They talk about climate change. Josiah has talked about that. So that is why we are here. So please, as we are in the studio now, you can be able to call us, ask us any question. Tell us, but I'm not saying go and abuse anybody. Please.
No, that is even one of the ethical things again. Yeah.
That is hate speech.
Yeah.
Because if you do, my colleague Josiah Barista allegedly, please, if you know the information is not right, you don't have the facts to back up the information, please put it allegedly. So that if they want to quote you, you will not directly invite it to someone. So please, yes, in as much as you are trying to do the right thing, please let's be guided.
Yeah, and that's where again opinion leaders come in. They just need to be truthful, knowing that they have the community in their hands. And he has said it. If the companies are not doing what is right, follow the legal thing, write to them, get to the community. If you want to protest safely.
Yeah, protest is allowed, please.
Yeah, protest safely, not with violence.
Okay, interesting. So far, we have been able to highlight some very important matters as long as we are talking down the line of amplifying the people's voices with regards to the host community development trust fund. And to the extent Charles did not emphasize, this is basically about your community and the resources that sit therein. and the ability for you to activate and also tap into these resources and the benefit that accrue from it as long as the Petroleum Industry Act is concerned. That said, remember you can also be a part of the program, whatever community you are. Maybe you're in Ogoni land, which you don't need second reminder to tell you that it's a lot of oil. You're in Eche, you are in any part of the Niger Delta, even outside River State, you can be part of this conversation. Did I mention Bielsa? The number to call into the studio with this afternoon is 0908 185 5966. You can also call 090 22 917 917, and we have 070 4000 1783. One thing I'm yet to find out from you is, Charles, you made mention of what the media should be doing.
Yeah.
What about the things that the media had not been doing that seems to have settled?
Okay.
I know Charles will scatter this one now.
I want to appeal to media houses wherever you are. Please, you should be giving out these platforms for people to come in and talk. Yeah, some persons are scared because when they hear about radio, how much am I going to be paid? How much am I going to pay to the radio to talk about what is bothering my community, what is bothering us, right? So media houses need have a role to play also. I know you won't go to the community members, but you give them a platform to air their views, to air out what they want to. Because you guys, without media, you can't hear us. Without media, that is why I respect media persons a lot, because they play a very vital role in our society. They centralize information we need to hear.
Okay.
Yes. So on that aspect, I always say it time without number. I in the studio here, Josiah in the studio here, and Ade in the studio here cannot just be, our voices cannot be heard just three of us that you want to talk about 10,000 persons. But I have the opportunity and the platform. I am coming to the studio now to talk about the issues bothering the people, the community members. Like the person called last week and talk about being anonymous. Please, that's add one of the avenues that we are talking. You can use your Freedom of Information Act, FOI, to write. You can remain anonymous, yes. You can write, seek information you need to seek, so that the people that you are targeting can be able to come up and sit well and do the right thing. And I come to understand that the Petroleum Industry Act people are not being transparent.
Mm-hmm.
People are not being transparent. And as we speak, as I'm talking on air, we are having a training by next week in Delta, still talking about the issue, because Petroleum Industry have come to stay for the past 3 years now. We just celebrated last year, August, make it exactly 3 years since it was enacted. What has been the benefit? And I said it that only 165 communities have been fully registered, which we have like 10,000 communities still pending. Whereas people have not known they don't know their right on what to do. So please, community leaders, media people, please, we advocate for this to be done, the right thing to be done. And I thank Connected Development and Oxfam for always bringing us this opportunity for us to talk about it and enlighten the public.
All right, the concerns are noted. We take it to management. That said, Josiah, very quickly.
Yes, please.
If you go around the various local governments in Rivers State, as oil rich as she happens to be, you would find movements and grassroots bodies all over, strewn across the street and different communities.
Mm-hmm.
But with regards to our conversation this afternoon, how can these grassroots movements leverage media and opinion leaders effectively without compromising their autonomy or message, as long as the HCDT Trust Fund is concerned?
Yeah, so let me just put it in simple. When they have programs, when they have engagements, they should bring the media in. Make media as part of their partners.
Yeah.
It's very important. They shouldn't, mind the word, use the media. No, media should be their partner. So when the media becomes their partner, it's easier to send in their messages. It's easier to send in press releases. It's easier to send in jingles and all of that. And also, media will be able to map out their own messages, as if, for instance, like Wave FM right now, can map out a message from coded development as if it is Wave's message. Okay, put it in one of their programs and send out in days and months. You see, and we are having that partnership. Partnership is the most important thing when it comes to issues of like this.
You want to add a thing or two, Charles?
Yeah, I really want to. Please, I really want to appreciate the community members once again. Please don't hide under the shadow of shedding tears, and whereas you have the platform and opportunity for you to speak out,
Exactly.
come out and talk about your issues. We give you the larger platform, the Twitter you are using, the Facebook, the app, all those apps you are using. You can use it to centralize your information and air your grievances away. When things are not seems right. So yes, we can still come to radio like this. There is always a time you can be able to slot in, and they'll give that small time to talk about it. So that is why we are here today to talk about it. Say, please don't just hide. He said, when I go to radio and talk, they will come and whatever, they'll come and harm me in my community. No, nobody comes to harm you. Rather, you are protected. You are protected. So once they hear that their name is mentioned on the media, they want to do the right thing. So always come out and talk about it. Air out your view, please, but have your facts.
Yeah, very
Don't
important.
speak
Very
because
important.
someone just said it, someone told you. Don't say I hearsay. Have your fact on ground, because that's what we deal on. That's what the media deals on. You have your fact on ground. So when someone quotes you, they will know that okay, what this person said was true, right? So that is why, please, you can even use our own platform. You can go to our website www.connecteddevelopment.org. You can go to Twitter and connect.develop. at Connect Development on Twitter, on Facebook, Connected Development, on Instagram, Connected Development. You can use that platform. And we also have a movement called Follow the Money. So Follow the Money is just like normal ifollowthemoney.org. So you go there and you see what other communities in Nigeria are doing. So you can be able to amplify your voices so that your voices can be heard and your community can be able to achieve and do better.
We have less than 4 minutes to wrap up the conversation this afternoon. It's been a very interesting moment, having to talk about this particular issue with you. But let's quickly dissect it from both ends. Josiah, there seems to be a divide and rule formula oftentimes between IOCs and community leaders. And because we're talking about spreading the voices and giving it the strength it deserves, how do people and those who are, of course, from these communities get to reconcile the power dynamics between media corporations, political entities, and opinion leaders who influences community voices and determine which are heard or silenced?
Yeah, so again, it depends on what they are fighting for. Now, for issues like the Community Development Fund, the host Community Development Fund, the first people should have been, I say should have, but unfortunately, because of as you said, what is happening, it should have been the traditional rulers, which are going to be the first opinion leaders.
Yeah.
Okay, but with the situation on ground, where some allegedly
Been bought over?
yes, have been bought over, you now have to move to the next, and the next is not the companies. When you go to the company want to do business. They will continue to do business. You go to the media. Now, why the media? The media is because by the time you escalate it, you see the company that won't want to listen to you, and including the traditional rulers or opinion leaders that have been hiding under the bottle, they will look for you. They will want to listen. So the power dynamic starts from the traditional. Then from the traditional, you move to the media. That is when the companies don't want to listen to you. But if everything works well, then traditional, that's the kings, them to the company, from the company to the media if need be.
Charles, over time, we've seen situations where individuals from communities that have been impacted will come out and give press releases or statements regarding some of the things that are biting them. And just very quickly, you'd also touch on the Freedom of Information Act. Instances where you write and you don't get your reply, as at when due, 7 days timeline ultimatum given to read. That is on the one hand. So in this situation, people go to the media, they lay their complaint, and before you know, you have a counter report from the side of the companies. How do people get to walk through that tight space?
Okay, if you go to the community and they refuse you of information of what you need to know, you come to media and they counter it with another thing. It's happening.
It happens, yeah.
It's going on as we speak. That is what I'm saying. one person cannot. It's always a collective effort from the community members, because there is no how. As if I want to, they want to site an hospital here, and their hospital has not been sited in this place, and a contractor will come to the studio and say, "I've built hospital in this so community," without the community members. I have not seen such a thing. So you won't tell me that one person in the community will just say, "Hey, it was okay." The community members are aware. Thousands of people in the community say it's going to be, the hotel is a lie. So in that aspect, you're right. That is why we said the Freedom of Information Act has been domesticated in the in the country. Use that avenue to run along with it. Right. People have been writing and they've been getting responses. And we Connected Development have been helping community members in people to write Freedom of Information Act, and they get responses under automatic, because every government agencies, every contractors, it is bound to everybody, all sectors. So once you've written it to any sector, for anywhere you want to get to, you will get your responses back.
Absolutely. And this would be where we will have to draw the curtains on today's conversation. Many things for you to take away. Number one is the fact that you need to tap into the various media or medium that have been provided to you to get your voice amplified with respect to having to get the benefit of the host community development trust fund. Also, the fact that you need to run away from spurious claims and be objective, have your facts ready so that you can defend them. And in cases where you're unsure, but you feel there's something fishy about it, you're welcome to use the legal saving grace, allegedly. That and name more is what we have been able to talk down the line this afternoon on the program. And do remember that next week will be another time for us to sit here and have another conversation around the HCDC. Many thanks to you, Charles Ufot, State Officer of Connected Development, and community developer and gender and human rights advocate, Ebilika Josiah. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Gentlemen, it's been a wonderful time.
Thank you.
And that's a program for this afternoon. Coming through is the rest of the programming on your everything on PlayStation Wave 91.7 FM. My name is Adekunle Adejimo. Good afternoon to you.
Ade.